You need to see a wholesome American family.
I don't have a wholesome American family.
Nothing's ever your fault. I was embarrassed for you.
My entire life, I've been told I wouldn't amount to anything. And you know what? Maybe I would.
Hi, folks. I'm Ignatiy Vishnevetsky.
And I'm Alex Dowd.
Today we're talking about I, Tonya, starring Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding.
Welcome to Film Club.
You know what scene I love in Goodfellas? It's right at the beginning. Henry Hill slams the trunk, camera comes in on his face, there's a freeze frame, and he says, really, this story is about America. No, of course he doesn't. You know, he says, as far back as I can remember,
I wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah. But every Goodfellas imitation that has come since then, and there, I feel like have been 110 of these things over the years.
This year? this year alone?
Many of them with American in the title.
Yeah.
Thank God this film is
I'm
not
very
called...
surprised it's not called American Skater.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really could be. I mean, at one point somebody does say, Tonya is America. That's a line of dialogue in this movie.
In the first few
5
minutes
of the movie,
yes.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this has become the pattern for every film that wants to say something about the American dream, or every film that wants to be entertaining in kind of a Goodfellas sort of way, feels the need to be a statement about America.
Yes.
Which I think is one of the things that weakens this movie.
Yeah.
And weakens all of these movies because really they don't have anything to say beyond just a very superficial
Beyond
cynicism.
the obvious surface level stuff, yeah. This is very much in the mold of Martin Scorsese and Goodfellas era Martin Scorsese. There's so many needle drops in this film. I mean, it's like wall-to-wall music and some pretty obvious cues too. I mean, we get Spirit in the Sky.
Yeah, I was going to say Spirit in the Sky in the first.
You know,
I was waiting for Gimme Shelter to come along, but
yeah, they didn't resort to that one. And the other thing is that the film sort of adopt this framework where the characters are delivering interviews and they're sort of contradicting sometimes what we're seeing on screen. So and
sometimes they're also talking directly to the camera.
Right, there's fourth wall breaks in addition,
and this is telling the story of Tonya Harding, notorious early 90s figure skater who's been banned for life from the sport for her involvement in let's say, the kneecapping of another skater, of Nancy Kerrigan.
Right, which they just refer to as the incident in this film. And the first half of the movie is mostly setting up Harding's life and her career. About halfway through, it really turns into Goodfellas. And the various goons that were involved in that scheme take over the movie. I think the performances in this movie are pretty good.
I think it's really what carries it, because I think as far as second and third tier Scorsese imitations are concerned, this isn't the most fluid piece of filmmaking. I think Craig Gillespie, who directs this, he tends to go for really the very, very obvious in every moment. What does carry the film is Margot Robbie. The dialogue here never feels like something that a person would actually say to another person.
Right.
You know, it feels very, very artificial. But
I mean, you could argue though that the movie is the framework of the film, where you literally have characters talking, trying to reshape their own narratives and reshape their image, allows for a little bit of artificiality. One of my issues with the movie though is that I do think the performances are very good. I think,
and you've also, I should say, Sebastian Stan is quite good as her abusive husband.
Yep, and Allison Janney as her abusive mother, so just spewing a non-stop torrent of bile, but making it pretty funny because she's Allison Janney. You know, the problem with the movie is that I think it wants to implicate the audience in Harding's story. This is a movie that's fairly sympathetic to Tonya Harding and says that she was a victim of class condescension, that the world of figure skating did not want somebody who came from a lower income background infiltrating their sport. And it essentially, I think there's an element of this movie that tries to say that it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, what happened with her and with her husband sort of orchestrating.
Well, by that point, ex-husband.
At that point, ex-husband orchestrating the attack on Nancy Kerrigan, but I think the movie hedges its bets a little bit by being a little bit coy about how much she knew or didn't know with its kind of Rashomon structure, you know?
As far as implicating the audience is concerned, I mean, if you want to go back to that model, to Goodfellas, I think Goodfellas works by never letting its characters voice its own doubts about them, but also by always emphasizing this sense of pleasure, right? In their world, you get these long takes, whether it's introducing all of these minor characters by name or the famous Copacabana entrance. It's connecting gangsterism with just these basic movie pleasures, these aesthetic pleasures. You don't get here. The film is always mocking skating. in a certain way.
The film has sort of been constructed as a response to the tabloid reaction to this story, but I think in a lot of ways it's as sensationalistic as the tabloid treatment of it. It's just sensationalistic in a different way, just using these sort of pop filmmaking tricks to get us excited about the scandal around her life.
I'd argue it's even more sensationalistic.
America, they want someone to love, but they want someone